Good morning, grade 4. Today we're going to talk about energy and change. Energy and energy transfer. Key questions. What do we need energy for? Where does energy come from? Scientists says energy is the ability to do work. We need to understand what this means. A way to think of it is that energy can also make something happen. If you and your friend play games or run around on the school grounds during break, you use energy. We use energy for something what we do. We need energy to carry out all our life processes. Do you remember learning about life processes in the beginning of the year? Now, see how clever you are with what you can remember. Name the 7 life processes that are carried out by all living organisms. Where does energy comes from? That is a very good question. Think about why you need to eat. We get our energy from the food we eat. We eat plants and the food made from plants to give us energy. We also eat the meat from animals to give us energy. We get our energy by eating plants and animals. But where does this energy in the food come from? Energy is our food, comes from the sun. Energy from the sun. Before going on with the rest of this chapter, let's identify some of the new words we will be learning about. Solar energy, fossil fuels, energy chain or food chain, reflect, absorb, transfer. Activity, word search. Word search. The instructions, look at the instructions, go to the next slide and complete the word search by finding the words listed below. Once you have found all the words, discuss with your parents or grown-up what you think these words mean in your own words. Now, words to find are food, energy, work, movement, sun, energy, change, light, heat, absorb, reflect, transfer, chain. Energy from the sun. We get almost all our energy on earth from the sun. We call this energy solar energy. Sol means sun. Next term in Earth and Beyond, we will learn a lot more about that. A star is a giant ball of gas which releases gas energy. Some of this energy from the sun travels to the Earth in rays. Some of the rays are light that we can see. Other rays like ultraviolet light and X-rays we cannot see. When the rays reach the sun, the Earth, some reflect back into space. The Earth absorbs most of the solar energy. This heat warms the Earth and the air around it. The sun is the closest star to Earth. A star is a giant ball of gas which releases energy. Some of the energy from the sun travels to the Earth in rays. Some of the rays are light that we can see. Other rays like ultraviolet light and X-rays we cannot see. When the rays reach the Earth, some reflect back into space. The Earth absorbs most of the solar energy. This heat warms the Earth and the air around us. Without the sun, the Earth would be a cold place with no life. Energy from the sun has many different uses. On this picture you can see the rays from the sun reaches the Earth. Some are reflected and some are absorbed by the earth. Here's an activity for you to do. Ask the questions and use your dictionary to write down definitions for reflect and absorb. Light and warmth. We use the light from the sun so that we can see during the day. We use the energy from the sun to warm us. On this picture you can see people enjoying the sun on the beach. Plants use light from the sun to grow. Do you remember learning about what plants need to grow in the first term? Plants use the energy from the sun to make food, such as these mealy plants. Animals eat plants to grow. The transfer of energy from the sun to plants to people is called an energy chain or food chain. It is a chain because each organism forms a link in the chain as energy is passed along from one organism to the next. The arrows shows the direction of the energy flow from one thing to the next. Look at the example of the food chain below. In this food chain the sun gives off light, a light energy which is used by the grass to make food. The grasshopper eats the grass. The mouse then eats the grasshopper, and the energy is transferred from the grasshopper to the mouse. Lastly, the owl eats the mouse. Activity: describing the transfer of energy from the sun. The instructions: look at the following food chain in the space below and describe the transfer of energy from one organism to the next. This food chain could be much longer. As more organisms eat the previous organism, the food chain gets longer, and the sun's energy is passed further along from one animal to the next. Look at the longer food chain below. In this food chain, what does the mongoose eat to get energy? Animals and plants. Trees are plants and so they get the energy from the sun to grow. As it grows, the tree stores some of this energy in its wood. When we need heat and light at night, and when it is cold, we burn the wood so that we can use the stored energy. We burn wood to get warmth from the energy that it released. Long before dinosaurs lived on Earth, plants and animals also used the energy from the sun to grow. Today, some of these old dead plants and animals have turned into coal, oil and natural gas. Coal, oil and natural gas are called fossil fuels. We mine fossil fuels so that we can use the energy from the sun that was stored millions of years ago. When we use petrol or diesel to make cars or tractors go, we are really using stored energy which come from the sun millions of years ago. Key concepts. We use energy for everything we do. We get our energy from our food. Energy in our food comes from the sun. An energy chain or food chain is used to show the transfer of energy. Revision. Where do fossil fuels come from? List some fossil fuels. Explain how animals get energy for life processes. Draw a food chain to show the flow of energy from the sun to a lion that has just eaten an impala. Draw and label a diagram to show where you get energy from when you eat pap and when you eat wors. Well done, you complete the chapter Energy and Change. Keep up the good work and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.